Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Dan Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Now, if you haven't seen it, please be sure to check out my top 10 favorite Adam Page matches, which is up from earlier today. I was able to do a review on him, seeing as how I meant to do it on his birthday a couple of days ago, but I was a bit busy, so I couldn't do it. So I came a little bit late, so be sure to check that out and let me know your thoughts on your favorite Adam Page match. We opened up the show tonight with another Tim Bell salute in dedication to Hulk Hogan's passing. Of course, we had that. Then we had a couple of highlights, and I won't say everything in order. I'm just going to give my thoughts on the first thing that comes to mind. First thing, we had Siobhan Evans taking the Undertaker's advice, going after the biggest dog in the yard. However, Ethan Page is not the only. By the way, Ethan is still champion for some reason. He managed to get past Santino Marella with a little dirty tactics, I might add, but all ego Ethan Page is not the only person on NXT with a big ego, because Trick Williams, despite being owned by The Undertaker, came out tonight with the Wesley crew to attack Siobhan Evans after Siobhan put up a challenge. Then that night, earlier tonight, should I say, we had a very good match between Siobhan and Wes Lee. It was almost magic together with those two. But in the end, Siobhan Evans would win this match. And in the end, Trick Williams would pose with his TNA championship. Obafemi posed with the NXT championship, because Obafemi was the original target to face Siobhan Evans, but Trick Williams had to put his ego out there, which lets me know that we might get another triple threat match. Sometimes we don't get rematches on triple threats, except for Cena, Orton, and Triple H. Happened twice, and it was pretty good. We had the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian happening 3 times. By the way, I'm very looking forward to the Dudleys versus the Hardys. One more match at Bound for Glory this year. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it's good. I would love it if Christian and Edge would reunite to come to TNA. However, they're on AEW, and Christian Cage went to go find himself. Moving forward, we might get another triple threat match, should I say. That, if we do, will be awesome. We had Jada Parker and Blake Monroe. By the way, somebody pray for Booker T, because Booker T was literally threatened by Blake Monroe for whatever reason. I might have missed something, but for whatever reason, Blake Monroe threatened Booker T for missaying the name, however, and it doesn't change the fact that Booker T is still crazy about her, just like he's crazy about all the young. No, I'm not going to make that joke. He's crazy about all the young women of NXT. From Stephanie Vakir is gone and she's on Raw, so now Booker T has to like everyone else. And I'm starting to wonder if Booker T has a degradation thing, because she threatened him and he still likes this woman. It's like Jerry Lawler back in the day. I remember at Bad Blood 2004 when Jerry Lawler was commentating for Chris Jericho versus Tyson Tomko with Trish Stratus in a handicap match. I think it was then. I don't know. But whatever time it was, I don't know if it was Backlash or Bad Blood, but somewhere Jerry Lawler said, if Trish told me to go to hell, I would enjoy the ride. Something's wrong with Jerry Lawler. Just like something was a little wrong with Booker T, but nonetheless, there was an encounter with Booker, and Blake Monroe is doing the whole body shaming thing, which we've seen a million times before. It's kind of predictable to me, because We saw this with Michelle McCool versus Mickey James. And Michelle McCool, by the way, hated being the bully on character. Even though to me it was a lesson of God don't like ugly and bullies never win, Michelle McCool hated being the girl to pick on Mickey James and call her Miss Piggy. She hated it. Of course, then there's Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, the body shaming angle at WrestleMania 2018. So I've seen this before a couple of times. So we're gonna have another body shaming angle. I don't know. I don't know if we need this, but what the heck. Of course, moving forward, speaking of Nia Jax came out and interfered with the Fallon Henley versus Lash Legend match because apparently Nia was tired of Lash Legend putting her name in her mouth. Well, that never mind. Are simply talking about how she eliminated Nia Jax. Moving forward, Nia Jax is here on NXT tonight. We saw Jada Parker was here in a successful match against the wannabe baddie versus baddie, whatever. The only thing missing from this baddie thing is Jade Cargill because she used to have the baddies on AEW. Speaking of the baddies, I wonder how they're doing. It doesn't matter how they're doing. I'm just playing. Moving forward, however, Jada wins. We saw Kalani Jordan pull a April Fool's prank in late July, coming out as Kalani Jordan with Jordan Grace's entrance. Now, for a moment, it made me think that Kalani was going heel, but she's not. And Lola Vice was there as well. Lola had a good point. Blake Monroe can be so. She said, "How can you be so beautiful and so ugly inside?" A little moral lesson, folks. There's a fine line between beauty and attraction. Let me say it again for the people in the back. There is a fine line between attraction and beauty. Let's get that out of the way. But in any event, moving forward, apparently next week we're going to see Kalani in action. I thought it was hilarious when Jada Parker shoved Blake Monroe off because Jada Parker, technically in some way, is still babyface, as is Lola and Kalani. However, Blake Monroe is still a villain. But I want to say congratulations to the NXT commentating team for being nice because the last time Blake Monroe was Mariah May and tried to speak on her heelish actions, Tony Schiavone did something that was very inappropriate, even for him, saying, "Speak." I won't even try to substitute that. That was crazy. I immediately thought of Tony Schiavone. Y'all remember that? That was cold. But in any event, like I said, I thought it was very hilarious when Jada shoved her off. I thought that it left somebody tell me what happened at the end of NXT because it cut off right as the lights were going off. As Tony D'Angelo sat alone at his own restaurant, someone came in and shadowed his face, and immediately it cut off to CNN News or American News on NXT with Dee Gatton. But in any event, I will say this. If WWE decides to do a triple threat match between Oba, Trick, and Javon, I believe it's going to be just as good, if not better, than the first time they met. I don't know, but the last time they were together, it was awesome. Although I must be honest, I think Obafemi is sick and tired of triple threat matches. He had a great one last week, but I think he's really starting to get sick and tired of triple threats. I think he's going to hate them after a while. But in any event, let me know your thoughts in the comments below what you thought about tonight's episode of NXT. I'm your host, Daniel Cody. And again, if you haven't seen it, be sure to check out my review on my top favorite matches from Hangman Adam Page. Until next time, have a great week, everyone.